friends, and welcome to Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips, joined by Gamecock legend Kip Bouknight, talking Carolina baseball today. Kip, the Gamecocks have won 4 straight and will play 3 games in Nashville this weekend against the Vanderbilt Commodores, ranked 17th in the country, starting tonight, Friday night.
Yeah, Gamecocks are looking to continue some momentum, getting a good win in Greenville over Furman Tuesday night, and they're going to a tough place to play in Vanderbilt, and Tim Corbin and the Vanderbilt Commodores are always a tough task, and certainly going to have some good arms, but I believe South Carolina is in a good position right now. They just want to try to win the series if at all possible and keep that momentum going that they built last weekend.
Kip, the Gamecocks, we talked earlier this week here on GCR about the fact that Carolina has struggled with some midweek games this year, you know, losing to the Citadel and losing to Furman and dropping a game a couple weeks ago to PC. But the Gamecocks busted out the bats on Tuesday night, a season-high 17 hits, and Carolina beat Furman 10-2 at Fluor Field up in Greenville. 6 Gamecocks had 2 or more hits. Jonah Bride had 4. That was a season-high, and it tied a career high. And Carlos Cortez tied a season high with 4 RBIs. And Carmen Majinski pitched extremely well, setting career best with 7 innings pitched and 7 strikeouts. So the midweek problems were not existent this week, Kip. Gamecocks handled business Tuesday night.
They did. They went for a business trip up to Greenville Tuesday, and Carmen Majinski certainly made a great start. Really, I think if the score was closer, he'd have probably stayed in pitching into the 8th inning. I think he only had 90 pitches through 7. So really nice job by him. Pounded the zone, throwing a lot of strikes, and a great job by the Gamecock offense. That's what you got to do against the lesser competition when you're playing in the midweek. And I know there's a lot of parity in college baseball now, but that's still a win that South Carolina, the way they won should be a common theme for them with a lot of those midweek games. And for whatever reason, they've struggled a bit this year, but hopefully they're learning from their mistakes. And they certainly came out ready to play a Tuesday night, and I got a feeling they'll be rocking and rolling, ready to go tonight in Nashville against Vanderbilt.
10-2, the Gamecocks beat Furman on Tuesday night, and Carolina obviously swept LSU last weekend, so the Carolina win streak is at 4 games right now. Carolina is 24-17 on the year. The Gamecocks are 9-9 in SEC play. Vanderbilt comes in 24-16, and they are 10-8. And Vanderbilt dropped 2 out of 3 at Missouri last weekend. They did win the series finale after dropping the first 2 games. Vandy won the series finale 6-2 over Missouri. Mason Hickman with 7 scoreless innings. And Ethan Paul, 3 for 4 at the plate with 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs. So Austin Martin leads Vanderbilt with a .373 batting average. And Paul has a team best 10 doubles and 8 home runs. And Vanderbilt likes to run, Kip. They lead the conference with 74 stolen bases.
Yeah, South Carolina's going to have to do a good job this weekend, starting tonight, and holding runners close. They're going to have to, the pitching staff's going to have to change their hold times, make sure that they're not just getting into a habit of coming set and maybe 1/1000 and pitching to home plate. So, you got to focus on the hitters, but at the same time, South Carolina, the best way to control the running game is to not give up many base runners. So, I think it's important for Logan Chapman to continue to pound the zone. He did that against LSU and just went right after the guys and used his sinker, and his changeup was outstanding. And I look for that to continue. I think this team, after getting a bulk of their lineup back, you know, when you're missing Madison Stokes and you're missing T.J. Hopkins and Noah Campbell coming back now, you know, Noah's, I think, still probably nursing that finger that was injured by a hit by pitch about a month ago, and he's probably back a little bit earlier than he should be, but they need him to be good in the lineup. And if he's not 100% healthy, I got a feeling he may sit tonight, but, maybe let Matt Williams play a little bit or play first and let Madison Stokes DH. But you can't count how important it was to get T.J. Hopkins back. Not that Madison Stokes wasn't important, but T.J. Hopkins up the middle playing center field is just outstanding and a big-time player, and really good to get him back. And again, South Carolina is right in front of them. They're right where they need to be in the SEC at this moment, and they just got to go out and continue to play good baseball. And if they do that, I certainly believe they'll win the series.
Hopkins' return last week against LSU was a very welcome sight, and he had a huge weekend against the Tigers. Hopkins hit .467 with 6 runs knocked in in that LSU series last weekend, his first since returning from injury. So Carolina and Vanderbilt here. We're previewing the series on Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips with Kip Bouknight. Let me give you the starting pitchers for the 3 games this weekend. We've got a 7:30 first pitch Friday, 3 o'clock Saturday, and 2 p.m. Sunday. And the Friday starters will be Logan Chapman, freshman righty for the Gamecocks, 3-0 with a 3.29 ERA against Drake Fellows, a sophomore righty, 4-3 with a 3.03 ERA. And Kip, just a few weeks ago, you would have thought that we'd be talking about Logan Chapman as the Gamecocks Friday night starter, but that's where we are, and he's been fantastic.
He has been fantastic. I think he's throwing the ball as well as anybody right now, and they switched it up a little bit for, I think, a couple different reasons, but whatever the reasons, it really doesn't matter. It certainly worked. Mark Kingston and staff have made the great call there, and Logan Chapman's responded. He got an opportunity to start on Thursday at Arkansas and pitched some solid innings there, and he certainly continued last weekend with his best start of the year against LSU. And he's a guy that he certainly is capable of being a Friday night guy. He's certainly shown that, but he's got 3+ pitches. His sinker and his changeup is outstanding, and his breaking ball at times is really, really good as well. And last week he really didn't have the breaking ball going as much as we've seen in the past, but he didn't really need it that much with his fastball and changeup. They were both outstanding, and he just got to continue to pitch with a lot of poise and confidence, and he's been able to do that here of late. And for a young freshman to do that in the SEC is special. That's something that doesn't come around too much. So really good to see him do well. And I think a key for South Carolina moving forward, too, is the play of Carlos Cortez. He has, as we've seen in the first 6-8 weeks of the season, this is a gentleman that was, hitting a $160, a $180, but he was still playing good defense. He was still good in the locker room. He was still encouraging his teammates, and they were trying to pick him up. But in the worst of times, you find out a lot about a person's character and a team's character, and I think that we're starting to see good things to come after this South Carolina team that's just been able to battle through that adversity, and it's really fun to see. He's got his average up above 250 now, and I look for him to continue his hot swinging this weekend in Nashville.
Yes, sir, and Cortez drove in 4 runs Tuesday night in the Carolina win over Furman, so it's Chapman and Fellows, the starting pitchers on Friday, and then Saturday it means Adam Hill will get the Saturday start, junior righty, 4-4 with a 4.05 ERA, and his counterpart for Vanderbilt is Patrick Raby, junior right-hander, 2-4 with a 2.47 ERA, and that leaves Cody Morris, the Sunday starter for the Gamecocks, sophomore right-hander, 6-3 with a 4.18, and Vanderbilt will start Mason Hickman, the freshman right-hander, who is 7-1 with a 3.69 ERA, and Hickman pitched extremely well for Vanderbilt in the series finale last weekend at Missouri and allowed Vanderbilt to avoid the sweep. So Morris got roughed up a little bit against LSU last Sunday, Kip, but the Gamecocks came from 6-0 down to win that game 8-6, and Cody Morris will be the Sunday starter again this weekend.
Yeah, having Adam Hill and Cody Morris going on day 2 and 3 is a huge advantage for South Carolina. If they can get the type of performance that we've seen out of Adam Hill and Cody Morris, this team could just be really, really tough and this down the stretch in the SEC. And the biggest key for them is just commanding the strike zone. They continue to be inconsistent at times, and if they can just find a little bit of consistency and command the strike zone, those two can be pretty tough, especially going against the number 2 and 3 guys for whoever they may be playing against. So again, good things for the Gamecocks. Hopefully a lot of fans will make it to Nashville, and if not, a lot of folks will be tuning in to watch tonight. And again, I look for a good series for the Gamecocks.
Big series this weekend at Hawkins Field in Nashville, South Carolina and Vanderbilt. Vandy leads Carolina by just 1 game in the SEC East standings. And Kip, Carolina's sweep of LSU generated a little bit of national buzz this week. Carolina actually moved into the top 25 in one of the major national baseball polls, coming in at number 25 in the rankings. And Vanderbilt's ranked 17th. So a big series, and we're getting down to the stretch now in SEC play. Just 3 SEC series left after this weekend.
Yeah, South Carolina made the move last weekend. They got right where they needed to be, got back in the hunt, and now they've just got to continue to try to play good baseball throughout the rest of the season, because the rest of the season, it's quick, and it's going to be over with before you know it. So they've got to continue to try to just play complete baseball. And, they're not a team that can just line up and go out and go through the motions and win. And, I think this team is a team that we've seen get hot, and they can beat anybody. I mean, it's the team that beat Florida, almost beat them 2 out of 3, and same thing with Clemson. And they just got to play good baseball for 9 innings. They're not good enough to give runs away and make errors and walk guys, but not many teams are. So, I mean, they just got to continue to try to, trust the process and trust everything that the coaches are telling them, and continue to try to play inspired baseball.
3 games in Nashville this weekend, Friday at 7:30, Saturday at 3 o'clock, Sunday at 2 p.m., all 3 games on SEC Network Plus and on the Gamecock IMG Radio Network. Kip Bouknight, Golden Gloves Award winner, our baseball analyst here on Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks a lot, Kip.
Thank you. Go Gamecocks.
That's Kip Bouknight, and I'm Emerson Phillips. We'll come back next week. We will review the Vanderbilt series, and again, after this weekend, just 3 conference series left. The next 2 series will be at home for the Gamecocks against Ole Miss and Missouri, and the Gamecocks wrap up the regular season with a 3-game set at Texas A&M. So we'll come back next week and talk about Carolina and Vanderbilt here on Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for joining us.